There are 73,000 college football players in the United States of America, 16,000 of which are draft eligible. This year, only 259 will hear their name called on draft day. That means 1.6% of the draft eligible players will actually be drafted. And the guys who have to figure it all out, the NFL scouts. The scout is a job that's arguably the most important job for any NFL team. They're acquiring the talent. All 32 teams have scouts. They're deployed all over the country. They're out there evaluating players. They stack players, this guy versus that guy. Who do we want? Who do we not want? And who's going to help us chase a championship? When you start this process, you're going to start with player one. You're going to take your notes. You're going to write your background information. You're going to evaluate that number one player. That one player is going to be the first of approximately 300 to 400 players that each individual scout is going to evaluate. You're going to pool all these names together. You're going to have well over 1,000 prospects. On most years, you're going to have 7 draft picks. To shrink it all down to make sure that you get the right 5 to 7 players, it's quite a task. Today, we're going to really focus on their job after the season ends and before the draft. That is the sweet spot in scouting. You've been able to study the players, you've watched the games in the fall, and now the real process begins. Breaking down game film is always going to be the most important factor when it comes to scouting. We can put guys in shorts and t-shirts and let them run around on the field. That has its role, it has its purpose, there is value there, but nothing replaces what they're like in football pads on a football field. Guess what? Playing the game of football. That's what's going to be the biggest determinant of whether you're successful or not at the next level. When I started scouting in 2003, I used to have to lug around a beta deck. A beta deck, not a VHS deck, a beta deck, as well as a box of beta tapes where I could fit one half of one game on one tape for one side of the ball. Then from there, we got to DVDs. You would have thought that we landed on the moon in scouting. We had a Case Logic we could bring around with just some DVDs. It can't get simpler than this until we arrived here. Back in the day, we used to say, let's watch 3, let's watch 4 games on each player. Now we get a chance to put the entire college football season on one Surface tablet. You take this with you on the road, you've got every game right at your fingertips. We have ways now to sort the video where we can be way more efficient with our time. If I'm watching a pass rusher, I can watch all of his third down reps and just watch him rush the passer. If I'm watching a receiver, I can sort it by targets and I can watch every pass that's been thrown to him throughout the entire year. In years past, you might watch 3 games, they might be the wrong 3 games, and you might get the player completely wrong. You end up not having a feel for them. You're not going to find a good NFL team if they don't have a good quarterback. It's the most important position that we scout. Accuracy, decision-making, and poise. Those are 3 crucial elements to a quarterback evaluation. And then I've added over the years, are you a playmaker? Can you make some things happen? Can you play outside of the structure of the offense? Let's dig into the video here. Bryce Young and what we see and what I love about him. You can see it against Kansas State in the bowl game. It's the pre-snap recognition. It's getting his eyes on the safety. We always say in scouting and in quarterback play, the safeties are the window into the soul of the defense. So that's where his eyes go. And once he sees safeties settle, he knows he's got a shot to take a deep shot down the field. So he sees it, he identifies it, he does it very fast, and then he gets the ball out over the top and extremely accurate with his ball placement. Down here in the red zone, you're gonna get a 0 blitz. So they're playing man-to-man. There is no safety. They are gonna bring one more than you can block. That's where everything speeds up around you. It's a fast mind, but it's a very calm, poised body within the pocket. It doesn't stress him out. You don't see him uncomfortable. He just hangs in there, identifies the matchup that he wants. The ball's gone, touchdown. His superpower is what's between his ears. He makes it look easy. Trust me, it is not that easy. When you're in college, you can skate by on your athletic ability. You're going to be better than the guy that you play against, and that's going to be enough. When you get to the National Football League, everyone's just like you. These are the best of the best. This is the most talented men who play this game on planet Earth. So if you're just going to show up when it's time for practice and you're just going to show up when it's time for the game, and that's all the level of commitment that you possess, you have zero chance of being successful in this league. I need to talk to your coaches. I need to talk to your teammates. I might even talk to some of your opponents who knew you when you were a kid, because talent, it's not enough. When you're watching a player, you might think he's fast when you watch him on tape, but you can't account for who he's playing against and how fast or slow that player might be. One of the values of the NFL Scouting Combine is you get a chance to see all these players in the same environment, on the same field, and they're competing not only against the guys in their position group in their draft class, they're competing against a standard that's been set from previous combines and previous draft classes. The college game, while it's similar to the NFL, it's also different. They're asked to do different things. At the combine, you get a chance to see them do exactly what they'll be asked to do at the NFL level. The metrics and the numbers that matter are going to vary by position. You can be a 4.6 40 receiver and you can make plays, because guess what? If you're running 4.6, the guy covering you is running 4.6 as well. If you're a corner and you run 4.6 and you've got a receiver who runs 4.3, now we got a problem. We got an issue here. So the 40 matters for the corners more than any other position. If you take offensive linemen and defensive linemen, it's going to be the 10 time. So they're going to run the full 40 yards. But scouts, when we get in the meeting, we're going to care more about what they clocked in that 10 time, because we're not going to ask offensive linemen to run 40 yards down the field. Wide receivers, the 3-cone drill at that time is going to represent how loose and fluid they are. I've always been a big believer in the vertical and the broad jump when it comes to pass rushers. How high you jump, how far you jump goes a long way in explaining what type of juice you have in your body, what type of athleticism, what type of explosiveness do you possess. You watch a guy jump up, you watch a guy jump out, you'll find out. Oh my gosh. One of the coolest things I saw at the 2023 NFL Scouting Combine was Anthony Richardson's workout. He ran a 4.43 at 244 pounds. Not saying that that's incredible. I'm saying it's never been done before. We've never seen a quarterback at that size run at that speed. And just for fun, let's go ahead and jump over 40 inches as well. No big deal. And then after that's over, after everyone's jaw is on the floor, he goes out on the field and had a really solid throwing session as well, including a couple beautiful deep balls. You could not do more to help yourself than Anthony Richardson did during the 2023 NFL Scouting Combine. Another big player at the NFL Scouting Combine is actually not an athlete. It's technology. Thanks to Microsoft's longtime partnership with the NFL, its technology has become an integral part of NFL teams' scouting and combine operations. Microsoft developed a proprietary NFL Scouting Combine app that gives scouts and team personnel instantaneous access to the results of each combine drill on their Microsoft Surface tablets. Anytime a prospect completes a drill, Combine staff inputs the results into the app for all scouts to see immediately on their tablets. This gives them the ability to analyze and compare the results across the entire prospect pool in real time. If there are specific prospects scouts are paying particular attention to, they can create watch lists and drill down to specific statistical splits from the results. Arguably the most important part of the NFL Scouting Combine is not what you see on television. It's what takes place in the other portion of the day. First of all, starting with the medicals. Nothing will move a player on or off your draft board faster than the physical. You've got to find out if they're okay physically. The other aspect is the interview process, getting to know them as people, getting to know them as leaders, getting to know them as workers. Most teams will put on their college video, ask them to explain what they were doing on a particular play. If you're on offense, you're a quarterback, we're going to put a play up there. It's an interception that you threw in week 3 against TCU. Explain to me why you made the decision you did. What was the play call? What was the coverage? What was the mistake? The guys that have incredible recall and plays that they have no idea are coming tend to be the best players. It shows you that they cared, that they remembered the play because they studied leading up to that game. They studied their performance in that game. It shows a level of dedication. Another aspect of the combine is these players get a chance to speak in front of the media. And some players are going to have to answer some tough questions in this environment. Some might be playing for small town colleges, and the next thing you know, you're going to drop them in New York, or you're going to drop them in Los Angeles in monster media markets where there's going to be a lot of scrutiny, and they're going to have to be able to handle themselves in front of the press. At the NFL Scouting Combine, there's going to be 300 plus players that get invited. That means there's several other players who are draft worthy who aren't going to get a chance to work out there in Indianapolis. Their time's going to come at their school's pro day. So every school is going to put on a workout for scouts to come in and see. It's going to be coordinated with the other colleges in the area. This is an opportunity for every draft eligible player at that school to get tested. The exact same testing you'll see at the combine with the 40 and vertical jumps and shuttle drills. It's also another opportunity to talk to coaches, to talk to trainers, to talk to strength coaches, to just continue to gather more information on these players. One player who absolutely crushed the pro day was Jalen Phillips. What Phillips was able to show in that workout in terms of his explosiveness, his change of direction, just how overall athletic he was, it jumped out to scouts. And that, to me, I think cemented him as a first-round pick, really helped himself with a workout there in Miami. Once the pro days are complete, there's really only one piece of the evaluation process that's left. You get a chance to bring in 30 players into your facility for a visit. It might be 15 guys you're really interested in drafting in the first round. It could be 10 players that didn't go to the combine that you need to bring into your building so you can get a physical on them. It might be 5 players that you don't even plan on drafting, but you want to start recruiting them maybe as undrafted free agents. That's the last part of the scouting calendar. That's the last box to check. After that's over, you're going to gather as a scouting department, as a personnel department, from the all-star games to the combine to the pro days to the team visits. All that information gets pooled. You're going to have in-depth discussions and debates, starting with position to make sure you get them lined up in position properly. Now you can start comparing value from position to position, player to player, which is going to eventually land you, hopefully with your top 150 players, 1 to 150. At that point in time, once the draft comes, it's paint by numbers. One thing I think fans would be shocked to find out is just how different every team's draft board is around the league. There is very little consensus within one building, much less within all 32 buildings. When you're looking at players, I might have tremendous value for this player on our team because of what he does and what we're going to ask him to do. You might be on another team and say, he simply doesn't fit. He's going to be much lower on our list. So every team is trying to build their best team. The way you do that is you identify what you do well, offensively, defensively. They either have to be able to fit into what you do, or you better be willing to adapt and change and fit who they are. That's one of the keys to team building is fit. Players that might be in the second round on one team's board, they might be in the 7th round on another team's board. Because at the end of the day, if he's a great player and doesn't fit what you do, it's not going to work. Being at some of the most epic college football games in history, getting to take in a game while you're doing your job and evaluating individual players, that's outstanding. But nothing will ever trump when you've had a chance to be in a draft room, when your owner looks you right in the eye and says, do you want this player? Do you believe in this player? Will you stand on the table for this player? And you do. And you end up drafting that player. You get a chance to see him in mini camp. You get to see him in training camp. And then the real games start, and he helps your team win a football game. All those hours on the road, all those hours poring over tape, all that background work. When that guy makes a play, wins your team a football game, it's all worth it.